Hey everyone, my name is Rhonda Robson and thank you so much for joining me on my Fluid Art channel. Today we are going to be making 6 different blooms, and I take those and I put them on wine glasses. They are gorgeous. So I'm going to do the 6 blooms, but then I'm going to do steps 2 through 10 at the end after the bloom. So stay tuned to watch those if you're interested in seeing how I actually take the blooms and put them on the wine glasses. All right, so let's start with bloom number 1. All right, so the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put down your pillow paint. And the pillow paint I use is Sherwin-Williams Semi-Gloss Ultra White. There's other pillow paints, this just happens to be the one that I use. I get all the edges and then I put a little bit more in the middle. You kind of saw that I did that. The paint mix that I use is 3 parts Sherwin-Williams Base C to 2 parts Minwax Polyacrylic. And then I add that to my paint, depending on what my paint is. It can be Liquitex, it can be Master's Touch, but it's a 1-to-1 ratio. And then if I need to get it thinner, I will use the polyacrylic to thin that out. And I layer my colors usually like a darker, a lighter, a darker, a lighter. Sometimes that happens and sometimes it doesn't. Like right now I'm putting on this fluorescent pink, which is really nice, on top of that purple and that green. And then I'm gonna put this metallic blue. So that's really pretty. And then you can kind of see that I've just put some black on there too, just to kind of give it just a little bit of oomph, because we're gonna use the cell activator, which I use 3 parts American Floetrol to 1 part Amsterdam paint, 1 part glue all, and about 6 drops of Minwax wood conditioner. And the Amsterdam paint that I'm using today is the white. So then you blow down into the paint, into the pillow paint, and across the top of the colors. So that way the colors glide across the pillow paint as you're pressing down with your air and across. And then if you have a big spot of white or black or whatever else color you're using for a cell activator, you can just blow straight down. Then you're going to want to allow the paint to come back into the center. The weight of the paint has been pushed out with your air, and you're going to want to bring that back into the center. So that's what I'm doing right here, just allowing it to come back into the center. I noticed that there was a little bit of excess white on the side, so I wanted to puff it a little bit, but it actually made more white. So I'm going to go ahead and use my skewer and just make some little curlicues, bringing the paint into the white. Do you see that, how I did that? I brought in the darker paint into the white so that it kind of broke up that white. So I noticed that my sticks that are underneath are not completely attached, so I have my tape underneath there with the stick, so I'm just kind of pushing up on top of underneath, I guess, the turntable there to press the paint up. And then you just spin it. You don't have to spin it too fast. Sometimes I spin it too fast and you really just don't have to. Just give it a nice little spin and the weight of the paint will go out onto whatever you're using to spin it. You can stretch the paint, but I prefer to stretch it by using the spinner. There's the wet results right there. Aren't they gorgeous? And then here are the dried results on a skin. And then I'm going to take that skin and I'm going to put it on wine glasses. And that's what that looks like right there. So you're going to want to watch at the end because I teach you how to do the steps 2 through 10 in order to get that. All right, well, so now we're on to bloom 2. And of course the pillow paint's the same, exact same thing, Sherwin-Williams Ultra White. And then I get the sides and I put a little bit in the center. So the mix is the exact same for all my paints, 3 parts Sherwin-Williams to 2 parts polyacrylic. And then I add that 1-to-1 to the paint, or if the paint is a full body paint, then I may need a little bit more of the polyacrylic to make it a little thinner so that it's all the same consistency. Then sometimes after your paint has been sitting there for a while, it gets a little glumpy. That's kind of what happened to some of my paint here as I was going through it. And then I take my cell activator, which is 3 parts American Floetrol. I've got Amsterdam paint, glue all, and Minwax wood conditioner in that. And then again, you're gonna blow down and across the colors. And there is a knack to this, there really is, and it takes some time to get really kind of the hang of it. I'm still learning. I did like over 100 of these for the wine glasses, and I feel like I am still a newbie with it because I can't really do it on my larger paintings. I can do really nice things on the small ones, but can't do it on the larger paintings. Again, if you have too much white or too much of the black cell activator, depending on what you're using, just blow straight down. And sometimes you pull up some colors that are underneath because you can kind of see that pink that's coming up through there. That actually looks really good on the wine glass that you're going to see here in a little bit. Now back to the glumpy stuff. So if you do have paint that gets kind of glumpy, then you can take your polyacrylic and you can add to it and mix some more in there, and that'll help thin it out instead of being clumpy. Okay? It seems like more often than not, I do use my skewer and I just make little curlicues to kind of take the colors and make them, I don't know, like on this one, it's not too bad, but I just wanted to add just a little bit because there's no like massive amounts of black or massive amounts of purple, you know, just a big clump of it. It's not too bad, but I seem to really like the way that the swirls look, especially after it gets spun out. And then you just, you know, stretch your paint by spinning it, and you don't have to go very fast. And I sometimes go one direction and then I'll go another direction, but you can see me, I'm like spinning this super fast. You just don't need to. There's no need to do it. I think that I was just trying to get it done as fast as I could to go on to the next one, I think. Can't remember because it was quite a while ago when I did these, but man, doesn't that look pretty? I really love that. Really love that one. And it looks awesome underneath the wine glass. So there's your wet results. And then here is the dried results. That is the skin. And then from the skin, I take it and I put it under a wine glass. So these are really pretty. They look really nice. The edges, I used a pen marker also to kind of make the edges not look white. Okay, we're on to number 3, exact same stuff. I take my pillow paint and I put it on, I spread it to the sides, and then I put a nice little mound in the center, so that way when you puff down with your air, it really makes it go across. Of course, you've got your mix that you have mixed with your paints, and the paints are to the mixes is about 1-to-1 ratio. And here I'm kind of trying to do some neon colors. That was a neon blue, neon green, neon yellow, and then here's neon pink. So this is going to be really a really cool one too. I like these 6. There's a lot of color in these, and I really like that. So now you're going to take your cell activator and you're going to put it on in the center. You can also use your palette knife and do a swipe if you want, but these ones I happen to be blowing them. So again, you're going to want to go down and across. Now this one, I seem to be taking my time a little bit more, and I got more webbing. So think about that as you are actually pushing your air across. Take a big breath, blow down and slowly across the colors. And I think that maybe you're going to get a little bit more webbing, because this one I can really tell as I'm watching this video that that's what I'm doing here. So I'm just taking a little bit more time. And then here I just blew straight down again just to make sure that I got rid of some of that black that seemed to be kind of pulling up there. And then again, you're going to want to allow the paint to come back into the center of the canvas. All right, so it's skewer time, and it seems like the gold has kind of taken over this one. So I'm just going to kind of swirl through it, getting the black in the other areas, but I don't want to do too much of it because I love the webbing on this. I love the pink and the green. You can kind of see how the pink and the blue kind of made a little bit of purple, and then the pink and the gold that was in there made that coral color really pretty. All right, so let's just go ahead and spin this out like you would any other time. Get the weight of the paint off the canvas and allowing that design to stretch. And there is the wet results. Really pretty. Looks like butterfly wings. And then there's the dried results still left on the tile. And then I take that off and then I put it on the bottom of these glasses. Really pretty. Okay, so number 4, let's get going on this one. So again, same thing, Sherwin-Williams semi-gloss ultra white. Put it to the corners and then put a kind of a puddle in the center. I'm loving using these neon colors, and so I think I've said this before in a couple of my other videos. You know, if you have a color palette, add a neon color, and you're going to be surprised, or a fluorescent color, however you think of it. I think these are fluorescent technically. But you'll be surprised on what that looks like. This is a nice little rainbow look. You've got the pink, you got the yellow and the green and the blue, and then the gold. Again, cell activator on this one is white. And so you're gonna blow down and across. Now see how I got a little faster on this one? I feel like I'm a little not really paying attention about pushing down in the center and across. So take your time as you're blowing out the paint. And if you want to, you could always use a blow dryer. That is a possibility. I've done that myself. You can use a little mini leaf blower. There's a really teeny tiny one that you can get on Amazon. I don't like the little puffs. You can also use a straw, but I don't like them being that thin. And so I tend to use my breath. I shouldn't say always, because I do use the blow dryer from time to time. All right, again, taking and go swirlies through and then spinning it out. And I can't wait to show you the last 2 videos. My husband picked out the colors, and you're going to be able to hear him in the background telling me what colors. There's your wet results, and then here's the dried results on the skin. See how the gold kind of more came through on this one? And then there they are on the wine glasses. All right, here we go for the next one. Okay. Which color do you want? Purple? Okay. Now pick a lighter color.
Can I do this lighter purple?
Oh. Okay.
It's pink or whatever it is. Black.
Okay, and then do you want the white or black webbing?
White.
Do you want me to do swirlies in it?
Uh-huh.
Or you want me to just leave it?
Swirlies.
Okay, ready?
Uh-huh.
That looks really cool, honey.
Huh.
I put too much white, I think, in it.
Yeah. Turned out all right, though.
Not too bad. There, that looks better.
Yeah.
I think next time I'll do it, if I use that color scheme again, I think I do a little bit less white in there. Okay. Last one of the day. Because I don't have any more tiles.
Oh.
Okay. Just use it all up, babes. Oh. Stuck to my finger. Okay.
This purple? This green? Yellow? Blue.
So rainbow colors, honey.
Yeah.
Okay, black or white?
Let's go black this time.
Yeah. All right, it's for release.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and watch. You're fine.
He made it, so.
I always dreamed of having kids of my own. I'm ready for someone to find me mom. At Northwestern Mutual, our version of financial planning helps you with your dreams today.
Papa John just took that fresh frozen yellow hand straight New York style. So you can
There. Okay. Let's see what happens now. Wow, isn't that cool?
Yeah.
The yellow and the pink always make this like really cool coral color. I don't think I need to do anything else.
No, I was kind of gonna tell you to stop.
Yeah. Awesome. It's like neon psychedelic stuff right
Yeah.
there.
I like the little squiggly lines right towards you.
These ones?
Yeah.
Those ones or
Yeah.
these ones?
No.
Those?
Yeah.
Cool. Because that was with the balloon and then me adding in the stick from the balloon. Yeah, that'll look really cool underneath a glass.
Yeah.
All those neon colors.
Yeah, I'm that good.
I know you are. Okay, so here are the results of those 12, some from the top, some from the bottom. And I will show you the tops, which is looking down on the glasses, in just a second. All right, ready? Here we go. Okay, so here they are looking from the top down. And yeah, lots of fun colors with these ones in neon and golds, purples and blues and greens. Really not blues, but greens. All right, let me show you from the bottom. All right, here they are from the bottom. Sorry for my glare. It's got the pool light over top of it, but these are all the final results of those blooms and how they look on the glasses. So there's a lot of metallic in these. Here, let me see. I can't see my hand. You can kind of see that as they shimmer in the sunlight or in the light above. But yeah, they're really, really neat. They got a lot of cool neon colors in there. All right, thanks for joining me. Bye for now. Bye. So the next step is to peel the paint off, and of course after it dries. And I was able to allow these to dry just 24 hours. But I take my X-Acto knife or the utility knife and I go from corner to corner, and again corner to corner. Then you can just take the utility knife and kind of peel up one corner and just slowly peel the skin off of the tile. It is as easy as that. Seriously, these are super easy to do. So let me just show you another one. I love this one. It's so pretty. Love it. All right, so you go from corner to corner, and you can kind of see how I have my thumb on the blade. It helps me to guide it. Notice how my hand is also off to the side, out of the way from the blade. And then I just peel it from the corner and I peel it all the way off. I love it. Look at that shimmer. So pretty. Can't wait to put that underneath a glass. So the first thing I do is I have my glasses in my box that I received them in. And I take them and I flip them upside down so they look like that. So I take them and I flip them upside down. And then I take Windex and I clean off the bottoms because right now they're pretty dusty and I want to make sure that my skins adhere to that. So that's the first step I do. So I'm going to do that before I start cutting out my skin. So let me get that done. Okay, so we're going to flip all of these over, and I'm going to use this box as my device of how to keep everything together and clean when I go to resin. And I'll show you that here in just a little bit, but it's going to be really cool. So it looks like there is one that's slightly different than the bottoms. Sometimes when you buy in bulk, they give you different bottoms, but this one has a bigger divot in it. And it's working out fine on my other one. So, but you just so that you're aware of that does sometimes happen. So then I just take my Windex. I'm just taking my Windex and I'm just spraying it on here. And then all I want to do is just get the dust off of the bottom for right now. I'm going to end up washing these prior to me using them for the fundraiser, but right now all I care about is making sure that the bottoms are cleaned so that I can adhere the actual skins to them. So, and then I just let those dry for just a few minutes. So I'll be right back and I'll show you the skins and how I cut them out. So I have my Liquitex Gloss Medium. I have that off to the side here. I've got my scissors. I've got my X-Acto knife. I have a glass, a wine glass, and I've got my tape. So the first thing I do is I kind of decide what I really like for the bottom. So this one, I definitely want the bottom there. And so I grab my X-Acto knife and I open it up and lock it in place. I put my hand on top of the glass and then I take my sharp knife, my sharp X-Acto knife, and I go around it. Now you're going to notice that my glass accidentally slips from time to time, so you've got to be careful. I don't put my hand down here because I'm afraid that my sharp utility knife, X-Acto knife, will cut me. So I keep my hand up above and I cut from the top. So I just take it and go around and cut from the top. Okay, so I got this mostly cut out, and then I want to go ahead and do my second one. So this is my second one. I want to do two. I'm doing two glasses at once with one tile skin or one skin tile. And it doesn't have to be exact or perfect because I'm going to use the scissors next. So then I take those two things and I put them off to the side and I take off my circles. So you can kind of see that it's not exact, right, around there. And then sometimes you're going to notice that you didn't cut it all the way through, like that one right there. And that's what my scissors are for, is just to kind of, you see the edges indented in there, and I just cut it out. So then I'm going to take my skins and I'm going to adhere them to the back of this so that they are back to back. So I flip this over and I'm going to put my skins here and here, and I'm going to go ahead and glue them down right away. So, and it looks like I cut into there, so I got to be really careful. If you accidentally cut or there's a crack, you can use your pens to help hide that. So I'll show you that here in just a second because I think I'm going to have to hide that one. So I get just a tiny bit of my Liquitex gloss medium, and I just put on here. That's all you need for gluing these circles down to each other. I'm just going to put a little bit like that, and then I'm going to put my skin on top of here and just kind of rub it down. And the same thing with this one here. Try to get it as close out away from that crack as I can, but still being able to get a full circle. Okay, then I adhere it there. Then I take my scissors, and I know this is time consuming, but let me tell you, they look so much better than not taking the time to cut them circles and not to put them back to back and glue them, and it just looks gorgeous. Now you can just put one circle on the glass, and I'll show you that in this next one that I do. You can do that if you want and then paint over it. I've done that before. So there's one disc done. And then here I'm going to take another one. And I keep my skins. I've got a pile of them. I did 96 of them last night, yesterday afternoon and last night. And I use those skins for magnets, and I'll show you what I've got here in just a second. But I make sure as best I can that the white is covered and it's mostly in a circle like that. So that's how I mostly do it. And let's see, there's a little bit of white right there. I'm going to go ahead and cut that off there. But I wouldn't have to do that either. Okay, so then I take these skins. Let me just show you. These are my two discs. And then I have these magnets that I make as well. That there's enough on there to make that. And this one I don't like as well, but you know, I could find something like, if the center was more like that, that would look really cool, right? So I keep these just in case I use those for that off to the side. All right, so let's get back to what we are doing. So I've got these two discs now, and I take two glasses right there, and these discs will go on the bottom. So then what I decide is which side I like better from the top. So I put the glass down and I kind of decide, okay, that looks kind of cool. That looks kind of cool. Let's put this one. Which one do I like better? Ooh, I think I like, that one's a tougher one. I think I like this one better with a deeper pink. And then what's going to happen is that's going to be my bottom. So that looks really pretty, right? Just like that. All right, so that's going to be this one. And then this one, I think I like that one better. All right, so then I have my two glasses. Let me put this more in the center for you. My two glasses, I've got, these are going to be the bottoms that are going to be seen from the top, so I keep them flipped up. Then I take my Liquitex medium and I put one dot, just one, that's all you need is one little dot in the center. And then I take my brush and I just gently brush it across. If you overwork this or not put enough on here or put too much, you're going to see streaks from the other side. So I just kind of barely brush it on. Then I take my circle and I put it in my two fingers side to side, and I center it on here. Let me move this one off to the side so you can see better. I center it on here like that, and then I take my finger because there's an indent and I push it down. And then I take it, oh, and it slid a little bit, so let's put that back in the center. And then I just let it kind of go all the edges and push that down. So let's do the other one again. So I take my fingers, put them like that, get the sides, press in the center, and this one I must have had more Liquitex on it than normal because it's sliding a little bit more. And then that's what it looks like from the top, right? I don't know if you can see that very well, but those look really, really cool. So you can kind of see how I've got an edge right there that's kind of sticking out. So that's what I use the scissors for. So I put my hand on the bottom to keep it from sliding, and I take my scissors just on the edge, not underneath. If you get underneath it, you'll actually cut it too close. So I take it on the edge and I just snip around the edge to make it so you don't see it from the top. And you can't catch then your finger on it later and peel it off, right? All right, so there's that one. It's done. So I'm gonna put that one off to the side, and then I'm gonna look at this one. This one, it looks like it's got a little bit on this side over here. Kind of moving it over just a little bit because I see some space that's not all the way to the edge. This one right here doesn't have space all the way, it doesn't have something all the way to the edge. And actually that's not horrible. And so let me show you how I'm going to now rectify that. So I'm gonna get these little skins out of the way. The next thing I do then is I use an old tape thing and I put it in the center of my tile, and I grab a paint brush pen, whichever one color you think would look the best. So for this one in particular, I think I can either do gold. I probably could do like that pink if I really wanted it. Green, that gold there, but I think I'm just gonna do this gold. So, and I just take it and I just put it on the edge, and I go a little bit at a time, circling this. And if I need to get on the actual top of it, then I do that. And you don't have to do this, but this is just because I don't want to see that little white, right, of the skin that you can see when you look down on it right there. So that's that white. Can you see that? How that's got some white right there. So I'm just going to take my pen and go around it. And then sometimes I get it on the glass, so I use a paper towel and I just kind of circle it like this to get it off the glass. So it comes off nice. And then there you go. So that's the first one. Let me go ahead and do this one. And I put this here, it just helps me so I don't slide it off the tile. It just is a little bit better for, I don't know, maneuvering and being more exact as I'm trying to go around. Try not to get on the bottom and get into the actual painting. But if you do, the great thing about these pens is all you got to do is add a little bit of water and to like your paper towel or your finger, and you can get it off. So, and I take a little bit of extra time. I'm taking a little more time than I normally do for you guys right now. It takes me about 7 minutes from the time I decide to cut the skin till I get it prepped for 2 glasses to get it prepped for resin. Okay, so now that I've got the glasses done, I go ahead and put them down. I grab my tape, my painter's tape, and I want to protect my glass from the resin. So I just tape down all 4 sides, and I use it on the tile because here I'll show you why. So I cut on the tile so I don't cut anything. And then I use my tape on the tile because then I can go like this, get all my edges down, and then I just peel it up and it looks like that. Okay, so I'll do this one here again for you guys. And you probably can tell I'm from the Midwest in the United States because I say you guys, you guys. Instead of, I used to live in Houston and I said y'all all the time in Texas. Hey y'all, but I don't know, I'm just no longer that. I'm a Midwest gal now. All right, and so I just peel that off and there I go. And now they are ready for resin. All right, so I'm gonna put them in the box and I'm gonna show you how protected they are back into the box. Then I take my glasses and I just put them down in here and look at how well protected. Okay, I'm gonna measure my resin and you're gonna need your PPE, which is personal protection gear. I'm outside, so I don't need a respirator. And really with this stuff, you don't need a respirator. Okay, the key to resin is to make sure that you measure the exact amount. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that on. And I don't need much for these, so I'm gonna go ahead and get my, let's see, this one will be the hardener, and pour out a little bit in there, not a lot. We'll go to 1 ounce. Okay, it's exactly 1.06. You need to be exactly the same when you add in your resin. So you got your hardener in there already. Now I got to add in my resin. 1.06 will get us 12 or 2.12, 2.12. 2.1, 2.5, 2.05, I mean. 2.16, so I didn't get quite 2.112, but that's okay. All right, then you have to, hey Siri, set timer for 3 minutes.
3 minutes, starting now.
So then you need to stir your resin for 3 minutes. This is I had a whole bunch of Panera extra glasses from when we did a, I don't know, catering thing, so I just have an extra one, so I'm using it. Since I'm just doing a little bit of it, I'm not doing a huge amount, I'm gonna go ahead and just do it with this. Okay, so let me show you how I did my first coat of resin. So it was actually in the garage when it was super cold, so my resin was kind of thicker. So I ended up just spooning it in with a plastic spoon onto each single one that was in the same box. I was freezing. I couldn't believe how cold it was that I was doing this, and I really wanted to protect my family and the fumes. So I'm out in the garage in the middle of winter doing this, and I think it was, and I'm not kidding you, I think it was a wind chill factor that day of like 20 below zero. But anyway, I'm out there doing this, and all for a fundraiser, right? You can kind of see it looks milky white, and that's just because there's a lot of air bubbles in there. And so this first coat that I'm doing, I'm just gonna kind of get the resin in the middle, and then I'm gonna spread it with my spoon, and then I'll heat it with my heat gun. You do have to be cautious with resin, you know, getting on yourself, on your hands, and really depending on what type of resin you're using, it has quite a bit of fumes and it can cause respiratory problems. So I had decided that I was going to go ahead and use a respirator here, and so I actually have a respirator, so I'll show you a picture of me with the respirator on. But then I discovered that this particular resin I didn't need to, but yeah, it kept me warmer anyway. All right, well, let's take the heat gun and let's heat these up. And you kind of start high up and then you go down, and you can kind of see how it's starting to like pop the bubbles, the air bubbles, and then you'll start to see it actually get warm and start moving a lot more than just popping the air bubbles. And it kind of looks like I'm moving fast, but I'm actually got this on a little bit faster mode, so you can kind of look through this and watch through this a little bit. You probably have already fast forward, and if you haven't, thanks for joining me and keeping going with me. But now you can kind of see I'm getting a little closer to the actual wine glass to heat it up, to heat that resin up and pop those air bubbles that are in there, because that's the big thing, right? You don't want that milky white, you want it clear, crystal clear. So you just need to make sure you heat it up enough that it's going to get rid of all those bubbles. And it was harder to work with it being so cold. So just be aware of that when you are using resin. And again, on this, I was worried about the resin going over the side of the glasses. And after the first coat and with the second coat, it didn't bother me because I just peeled it off. I just spent the time and just peeled it off. And yep, it adds more time. It does. But they look fabulous. And I'm so looking forward to showing this to the group of people at my fundraising event. See how shiny it's getting? They're looking so good. I think all the air bubbles are popped now, and I'm just kind of making sure that it gets all the way to the edges. And on that one, you can kind of see. Okay, so welcome back. Now that you have done your resin, I want to show you what I do next. So these I resined yesterday, and I just want to tell you a couple tricks that if you would get some resin on here while it's still wet, rubbing alcohol works really great for these. So I just wanted to kind of show you that. It's not so good once it's dry, but while it's still wet. Okay, so the items that you're going to need are possibly some scissors, a X-Acto knife, or technically a utility knife, and then I used a small one too in order to kind of bend to get to things. So those are the tools that I use. Typically it's just this one, but I do use those ones from time to time. Okay, so the first thing that I do is I check to see if it is dry enough, and again, I did these yesterday. So the reason why I'm going ahead and doing them right away is I don't want them to get too hard. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take the tape off. And then once the tape is off, you're going to see that there is resin along here. Okay, so what I do is I take my X-Acto knife, or what my husband calls a utility knife, and I just start in an area, and I do it from the top. And I just put lotion on my hands, so that's not good. Let's get some gloves to make sure it doesn't slip, because the worst thing you want to do is to slip while you have a knife in your hand, right? Yeah. All right. Get my gloves on. All right. So now that I have this, what I do is I take it from the top, not from the bottom, because if I go like this, I tend to go into the design too much. So I go from the top, and I start right here, and I start cutting along the edge. Now careful of where your thumb is, careful where your other body parts are, because if you accidentally like flip it, you've got to be careful there. Okay, so I go along cutting that. And then I discover I've got more. I go on the top now, just to make sure that all of the top is off. And what I mean all the top is off is like all the resin is off the top of the area. So, did you see how that knife kind of went over here? It almost got me. So you just have to be careful as you are doing these. And standing up where I'm at right now is just a harder way to do this, and honestly the gloves are harder for me. So So once I get that off, the sides off, it's warm or it's soft enough to kind of melt the sides. So then what I do is I take a paper towel or a towel and I just kind of friction it, and then I meld the sides together. And I'm gonna use that with my hands. I'm gonna have to wash my hands, all the lotion that's on them right now. And what that does is it kind of warms up the sides, and it just kind of gets the sides to be more of a gloss instead of a cut area. Okay, and so there it is, all done, ready to go. Then I always check to see if there's like any on the glass, just in case, and if there would be, I use this right here to scrape off the edges. Right, kind of go away from yourself, scrape off the edges of the resin, wherever that is. I see just a little piece right here. There. Okay, so that one's done. All right, I'm going to stop this and come back and wash my hands from this grease that I have right now. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so we're gonna try this again. So I've got my tape here, get that out of the way. That one is done, put it off to the side. So let's do this one. Let's go ahead and take off the tape. This one doesn't have as much on the edges as the other one did, but again, from the top, get my glasses on. I take the resin off, and I do it on the day after I do resin, because if I do it on 2 or 3 days later, it gets so hard that it's almost like glass, and then it's really hard to get off. There. Okay, so now that I have my sides done, I can take my hand or a towel like I did before, and I use friction to soften the edges because it's still 24 hours since I did my resin, so it softens the edges for me. So you kind of see that I actually had blue pen on that one. Let me go get my towel. This is the one that I was using. So I just kind of use it, friction, and then I melt it. So there you go. And then I take this and I clean up my edges. Collects the pieces. All right, we'll do one more. Take the tape off. Nice and easy from the top. I just kind of saw it back and forth. I don't try to go too fast, because then if I do, it'll like jerk up and I don't want it to hit me. Gotta be very, very careful when you're working with sharp knives. Utility knife is sharp. Now on this one, there is some residue right here. Okay, so that one is now done. So looks like there's a little bit of resin right there. take my towel, friction, and then I just kind of take my fingers and I push it into the sides. And there you go. Thanks for joining me today, and if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing and clicking that notification bell. And if you like this video, I bet you're gonna like these as well. Thanks a lot and have a great day. Bye! Bye!